Hello everyone and happy Advent. I'm really looking forward to seeing lots of you in church before Christmas. But on Families Online, what we're going to do for the next 3 weeks is think about the Christmas story from different people's perspective. We're going to put ourselves into the shoes of different characters in the Bible. I don't mean put our shoes in, actually put our feet in. Oh no. We're going to imagine what it was like to be those different people, what they experienced and how they felt. And so today we're going to think first of all about Mary, the mother of Jesus. And I wonder how she felt when that angel spoke to her about some incredible things that were going to happen to her. Well, it must have seemed, I'm sure, like it was impossible. So we're going to start off today with a challenge for you, which might sound like it's impossible, but I promise you it is possible. And you need to try and do this challenge without Googling on the computer or your iPhone or your whatever about how to do it. Okay, and see if you can work it out. And for the challenge you will need a pair of scissors and a piece of paper. And if you are a child, then your piece of paper needs to be this big, which is half A4, which is A5. And for an adult, you're allowed a piece of paper this size. And what the challenge is that using this piece of paper and using the scissors, you need to make a hole in the piece of paper that you can fit through. That's the whole of your body needs to fit through the hole in this piece of paper. Well, the piece of paper you've got at your home. Okay, it has to be a continuous circle. You can't kind of rip it into a long line and then hold it together. And you need to be able to put it over your head, including your arms, down to your toes, and it needs to not rip. So that is the challenge using this piece of paper and a pair of scissors. Can you do what seems like the impossible and fit yourself through a hole in this piece of paper? Press pause, give yourself that challenge, see how everyone at your home does, and then press play again, and we'll think more about the story of Mary. How did you get on? I wonder whether you managed it or whether you had to give up and look it up on the internet. Well, I guess if you're not very big and quite slim, then you might just be able to cut a square hole out of a piece of paper, just keeping a hole, and fit through that. But actually, for most of us, what we probably needed to do was something like this. And so this is if you're an adult, you first have to cut a zigzag pattern into your piece of paper. And that means by taking each end and cutting all the way along, but then stopping just before the end. And that you have to do that every other side. So this one I've cut from this end, and this one I've cut from that end. And I go back and I cut from this end. And then once you've done that, you then cut along the loops at the end here, but leaving the ones at either end still attached. And then what should happen is this. So you've got something like this, and then what should happen is you're able to put it apart, and it is still one long circle, but it has made a really big hole that you can fit all the way through. It's gone down my chair. It's including my chair as well, but it goes all the way through. I wonder how you got on. If you want to have a go now because you didn't manage it, then press pause and you can have another go. Now, Mary was only a young girl. She probably thought that she knew what was going to happen in her life. She was engaged to Joseph, so she probably thought, yep, we're going to get married, we're going to have our own home, we'll probably have children at some point. But actually what we know is that God had a completely different plan for Mary. And so what I want you to do is, instead of me telling you the story this week, I'm going to encourage you to read the story in a Bible. Hopefully you've got a Bible at home, or if not, you can look it up on the internet. And the bit of the Bible that you need to read is Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 36. So that's Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 36. Now you can look it up in different versions, like a children's Bible or the Message or the NIV, or you could read it, if you're a little bit younger, in a book like this, which tells us about what happened to Mary when an angel visited her. And if you want, you can just read it. You might want to read it like a drama script with different people playing Mary and the angel and the narrator. You might want to act it out with some figures that you've got from a nativity scene. But as you read it or as you act it, I want you to think about how Mary must have been feeling. She thought she had a plan, but God had a different plan. And I want you to pay attention, particularly at the end of the story, to what Mary says in reply to everything the angel has said to her. So press pause on me now, read the story, have a chat together about what Mary must have experienced and felt, and then press play again on me. I wonder how you got on. I hope you had a good chat about what it must have felt like to be Mary. She must have felt such a mixture of different emotions and feelings when the angel spoke to her, and that everything the angel said was in God's plan. But I just love the fact that at the end of all of it, she says, yes, I'm going to follow God's plan. I wonder if I would have been so brave and so trusting in God. I like to think I would have been, because actually, like Mary, I know that God has a plan for me. Now, the last few weeks, I've told you time and time again that God is with you. God is with me. God is with all of us. But it's even more than that. God is with us, and he has a plan for each one of us. And it says in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, and I am going to read it from the Bible, God planned for us to do good things and to live as he has always wanted us to live. That's why he sent Jesus, to make us what we are. So God has a plan for you. He has a plan for each one of us to live in a good way, to live so that we can help others around us and to do good things, just like Mary did. And it might mean that we have to change our plans, but actually we need to follow and trust in God that his plan is going to be the best plan. I wonder if any of your adults there can think of any examples in their lives of times when things haven't gone to their plan, but actually maybe when they look back on it, they can see that God had a plan for them. You might want to ask them that question in a moment. So today, I want you to think about the fact that God has a plan for each one of us. And that though that might not be easy, that it will be a plan that helps us to have a good life. So you might want to chat a bit more about those things, but also if you're part of the St. John's Church's Families Facebook group, then I'm going to put up some multi-sensory ideas of things that you might want to try, that you can see, that you can smell, that you can taste, that will help you think a bit more about this story. And if you want to join that group, then you just need to send a request on the St. John's Facebook page, and I'll be in touch with you about how to join. And remember that I've also made a Christmas playlist of some fun songs as we think about the Christmas story, and you can find that on the St. John's Church Colchester YouTube page. So as you go into this week, remember that God is with you and that God has a plan for you, and it is a good plan. Well, I hope you have a great week. Enjoy keeping on opening your Advent calendars, whether they've got figures in them or whether they've got chocolate in. And I'll see you really soon.